Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the rule of cool, how I use it, and what that could mean for you in tabletop gaming. If you guys are new here to the channel, be sure to enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Also, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. If you haven't already, check out luxuryplaystyle.com. They have some of the most amazing full metal tokens you've ever seen. We have them for X-Wing, Keyforge, all of the Arkham games. You're gonna love these tokens. They come in a variety of finishes. If you use code Crabbok VIP, you're gonna save 15%, and orders of $35 or more are gonna get a free lightsaber nunchuck token thrown in while supplies last. So check out luxuryplaystyle.com. So what is the rule of cool? Well, basically it is kind of self-explanatory, and it basically allows for you to suspend disbelief or potentially suspend expectations or your normal playing habits to make way and allow for something that is very, very cool and kind of gives you some satisfaction. So you're breaking the norms a little bit to bring something fun into play that maybe you wouldn't have done otherwise. It's usually a rule that's used, in light of basically a more competitive type of situation, and you're, willing to maybe go for a list that is not as competitive, but maybe a little bit more on the fun side because it does something that you think is really cool, or maybe you're willing to bend a rule here and there. Just because something is, seems so awesome that it'd be a shame for it not to happen a certain way. And this is something that can happen in a lot of different games, whether it's, Star Wars Legion, Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars Armada, role-playing games, especially. It's really big in role-playing games, and also even in regular board games too. So I'm going to run through a couple of examples, but I'm also curious from you guys, what are some of your opportunities where rule of cool has really kind of come in, been applicable, and kind of left you with a good story to tell? So like one of the ways that I tend to use the rule of cool is with list building. Maybe I'm building a Star Wars Armada fleet, and I want something that is maybe thematic, and so I opt to go for something that maybe isn't as efficient, right? If you saw my recent Darth Vader battle report, I had Darth Vader as my commander on the Devastator, and it's a very, very expensive title. It's a very, very expensive commander. Then the benefit is okay, but maybe it's not really worth the points. But it's thematic because it's Darth Vader. It's his flagship, and it's also a pretty scary force to face down, even if it's not necessarily worth the points. It's kind of overkill on points. But I thought, rule of cool, let's have something that's just super thematic, super scary, and represents something from the films. That's cool to me. And I had fun with it. It didn't win all of my games, but it wasn't about winning. It was about the rule of cool. Another time that I might allow rule of cool to work itself in is maybe it's not thematics. Maybe I want to go with a list that's going to be using a whole bunch of new mechanics. Sometimes maybe Legion will have a whole new wave drop, and I'll want to make a list that uses as many of the new mechanics as I possibly can, even if it's not the most efficient list. This might be one of those ways it's cool because I'm getting to learn all of the new mechanics and see everything new all at once. And to me, that is pretty cool too, because you're really maximizing your game time. And even if you lose, it doesn't matter because at least you got to use all of the new things. This is also important, I think, for a lot of people when you've bought things that you haven't used yet and you're finally getting them to table. I know a lot of X-Wing players, when you're trying to build a list, maybe you're trying to plan a game day, and maybe you bought that big new CR90, or you bought some of the new Epic ships, and you haven't played Epic yet, so you finally decide you're going to go play an Epic game or whatever, and maybe you really wanted to get tournament practice in, but you finally went and did an Epic game. Maybe you had a great time. Maybe you didn't have that much of a great time. Maybe you lost. But at least you got to take your new ships and get them flying, get your new stuff on the table. Those are all good examples of, I think, rule of cool. It doesn't always have to be something that matches up to the movies. It can be cool for a number of reasons. I've even run some really cool fleets that weren't that great, that were more or less designed to make sure that my opponent had an interesting fleet to fly against, because I've had cases where I was maybe on a winning streak and I didn't want to end up facing like some newer players and beat them really badly, right? So maybe I've taken some lists that were like that would be interesting and that could be competitive, but also would be really, I wanted it to be fun to fly against. So I think that's another good thing. Because I never liked game mechanics that kind of make it feels bad situation for your opponent. The modus operandi of the whole list or squad or deck or build. I used to hate those type of decks in Magic the Gathering that were control decks that you didn't even get to play your own deck when you went up against one. So to me that's the opposite of the rule of cool. So what are some other really cool examples? So maybe like a role-playing game. Maybe you're GMing and your players are about to do something really, really cool, and maybe they fail the role. And do you intervene as a game master, right? And I think there are absolutely times where you could, and perhaps you even should, flex that GM or DM muscle, maybe Dungeons and Dragons as well. Flex that muscle a little bit, pull some strings, and let the whole thing just happen. Say, override, hit your veto button. You absolutely have that power to make something happen if it's going to be really cool. Because at the end of the day, our games are about our enjoyment, and our role-playing games in particular are about the stories we tell. Now, what happens if it's not a role-playing game and requires a rule to be bent or potentially even broken? I mean, this can happen sometimes in board games, and it depends on what everybody wants to see happen. It's a little bit more difficult to do in multiplayer games. If you're playing like an 8-player game of Twilight Imperium, it's going to be pretty tough to break a key rule just because it would be cool. But then again, if you can get everybody to agree with it, then by all means go for it. Like maybe a law gets passed that everybody instantly hates, and you're like, we're going to be spending 4 more hours playing with this terrible rule. Do you want to just get rid of it? Because nobody wants to be locked in to a really, really long game where it's just going to be miserable the whole time. But in a 2-player game, what about like a game of, one example might be, Star Wars Legion. You've got Luke Skywalker moving in on the final round to lock up Darth Vader and to have an epic battle with him. He's got his charge ready. He moves in, and after he moves in, you find out he's actually like 2 millimeters shy of making contact and doing battle with Darth Vader. And thus the Empire's just going to be able to easily win. Vader will be able to move away, claim the objective, and win in a landslide victory. And the only chance that the Rebels had was for Luke to intervene, do battle with his father, maybe even kill his father, or bring him back to the light, right? So that could be a great opportunity for Rule of Cool to be like, you know what? I think he made it. I think he made it. And maybe you fudge some rules from time to time and let that sort of thing happen, because that makes for a better overall conclusion to the game. Now, this is probably not something that you should do in tournaments. This is probably something that you should generally do in, your kitchen table play or your local game store play and things like that. But I think it's also an opportunity to definitely do in games with newer players. Because if you're a veteran player and you're gaming with somebody who's newer, you definitely want that person to have, for their early games, maybe it's somebody's first game, maybe it's one of their first games with a new list, maybe they're very new to the game, and you want them to have a great experience. You want them to be able to walk away and go tell their friends, dude, I just played this amazing game, and it all came down to the final duel, Luke going up against Vader, but Luke got Vader down to 1 health left, but couldn't quite do it, but he almost saved the day in thematic fashion. Having a story like that really makes the game memorable and gives you awesome stories to tell. So, in that sort of kind of near rule bending can be a really fun way to give new players a little bit of an advantage and give them a better story to tell. So, but that can also happen with veteran players too. There's lots of little things that you can do to make the game more fun. One of my favorites in closing is just changing the rules a little bit for fun. And we did this in Star Wars Legion one time where we just ran all 800 points of all unique characters. So all operatives and commanders, and said, you know what? List building rules be damned. We're just going to play all heroes on a 3x3 battle. And it was awesome. It was super fun. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do things like that from time to time. But again, this is not really stuff for tournaments, although in tournaments you could, if you're playing somebody newer in a tournament, you should still kind of do the whole fly casual mindset of like kind of be easygoing, especially if you're your first round paired against like a brand new player and stuff. You don't want to be too jerky to people. You always want to be kind, but I wouldn't expect anybody to try and break any rules during a tournament. Please don't say that Crabbok is saying we should bend the rules in tournaments, because that would be cool. But if you do that, let me know. I'll give you a shout out. That still would be kind of cool. But don't break the rules. Don't break the rules. But be cool. Have a good time. Let's and that's gonna do it for today's video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing. You help make this all possible. And always remember, if you are skydiving without a parachute, you're doing it wrong.